Welcome to HirePhD Chats. So, people say PhD are expensive to hire, but are they really? Victoria, what do you think?
I think it's more of a misconception than actually reality. In my opinion, hiring a PhD is with a person with a PhD degree is no different than hiring anybody with any degree. I don't think any of those specialty degrees, like we're talking about, let's say, medicine, med rehab, those degrees, uh, they have like a basically a set hiring salary, I think. And I think PhDs don't really expect anything different from that. Like, I think it's not like we want to kind of be hired 100K to begin with, just because of our degree. I think that's a common misconception that I think that like PhDs shoot for a high salary in the beginning. So,
Yeah, I think a lot of things that people who wasn't in a grad school or academia didn't know is that how low the PhDs and masters are being paid for years while they're doing their research, right? Our common salary, say right now in Canada, maybe like 35, 40. Oh, now it's increasing to 40K eventually, maybe. But
yeah.
look at that. That is a super low salary, right? So
Yeah.
anything just imagine this. Anything above that, they'll be like, oh my God, there's so much money. Like
Yeah.
Victoria, remember when the first time you get a job out like after you get finish your PhD, how did that feel like?
I felt like it was like a shock, and I feel like I had no experience, and I totally didn't expect anything high. Like, I was just, if there is something that's higher than my PhD stipend, I will be happy because like the PhD stipend is not very high. Like, it's very, very like it's almost like a paying a student to like base and overworking a student. That's, I feel like, what I would best describe it as. So yeah, I when I was hired with my first job, I was just like, anything above that, I just want to get like my foot in the door. I think that's the most important because PhD spends most of their life in behind books or in academia, and they don't have a lot of experience in the workforce, so they acknowledge that, and they know that when they step into the workforce they don't expect to be actually paid, so they're reasonable in a way that they don't expect to be paid a certain rate just because of those three letters being behind your name.
Yeah, I remember like my very first job, right out when I finished my PhD degree was actually a MOA, like a medical office administrator, like people you see in a clinic where they're the front desk person. And that salary is higher than my PhD stipend already. Like that
Yeah.
kind of job, like you don't even need a bachelor to do it, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I got real job and then real money. And then the
Yeah.
next job that I have was sales. That was like, I think it was 35K. At the time, like a lot of the PhD are getting 15K Canadian a year, right?
I
And
know.
then suddenly got 30K, that's double. Right? And then the another job that I got, like you guys can check out my video in about policy. That one I got offer about 60K, and when the person recruiter was like negotiating the salary with me, they're like so apologetic. They're like, oh, this is like I cannot offer you anymore. This is the highest band I can get you. I cannot really go up any more higher, but is 60K enough? But like in my mind, I was on the phone, so they can see my face. In my mind was like 60K. I have never seen so much money in my life. You know? That's what I was thinking at the time.
Yeah.
Like Victoria, what was your experience?
Yeah, I feel like when people told me if it's over 50K and was like offered my first job that's over 50K, I was like, I'm happy. Like,
Mm,
I'll take it because the thing is, my stipend was not even that. So like I was really happy with just being able to step into the force. I think it's just with this, it's just to remind employers that like we're no different. PhDs are no different than any other graduates with any other degree. We are a little bit more specialized in our area, and but we do bring a lot to the table in which we bring a lot of analytical thinking. We're very diverse. We're worked really hard, so we know we're
Problem
very
solving.
adaptable and
Yeah.
problem solving. That like, and we don't really. And I think something that employers don't appreciate enough is that we don't need to be handheld through the job.
Mm.
We do not need to be guided through everything. We can figure it out ourselves. Like I, I mostly all my jobs, I got through into it. Like, nobody guided me to it. And I got like probably a salary that's probably like less than people who actually get handheld through their jobs and their positions to teach how to guide and stuff like that. Like people in business, people, I don't know, other fields, but in the science field, it is really like, it's not really that high, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like it's really really good bang for the buck, especially those fresh PhD candidate. I know like employers like, oh, they look at the fresh PhD candidates like, oh, you have no job experience. But actually, if you ask anybody who has done a PhD, it's like it feels like working.
Yes,
We're working, we're managing a team, we manage project, we manage all kinds of random things that the basically lab is like a small business. A small business needs,
yes,
we handle it. And
yes,
then we just need a chance, and then we don't need to get paid a lot, and then we already know how to do almost the main work, and
yes,
then self-starters
yes.
for what? Half the price.
I know.
You're like,
I know.
yeah, big bang for the buck, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that should encourage employers to actually consider that a little bit more and just like to look at, although we have been at academia all our life, but we did have a lot of experience working under supervisors who basically throw anything under the moon at you to and expect you to be able to figure it out. Like anything from finance to like just like paperwork to anything. And I think,
Inventory control.
yeah,
Oh my God, you laugh. Yeah, people, if you have the experience, please comment down below. Like, share your experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just like all the wild things that you have to do in which like in a position that basically is not really like a position.
Yeah.
Like,
I would say also like the startup people, like if you really like startups, you don't have a lot of budget. You want to hire people, want people who can do multiple job, hire PhD. They can
yeah,
do like whatever you throw at them, they'll figure it out. Like I was doing accounting. Like I was like, okay, I don't know how to do it. But then I took some course really quickly and then I could do it within like 2 weeks. So I
yeah,
was managing all the accounting of my research project in the first company I worked for.
that's pretty amazing. In which like you're just getting and for startups, it's an advantage because they don't really have a basically protocol of what they're doing and they're like how they're running their company. They're basically trial and error, and PhDs are really really expert like they're basically very like focused and really familiar with trial and error, in which is like because our entire life is trial and error, like our entire experiments is trial and error, everything's trial and error, and we are comfortable in that kind of environment, and we kind of thrive there, in which we can help you try and kind of see what works and kind of go on from there and just like kind of be your supporter, in which like and without being needing to be told what to do. Like it's just
Hmm.
more of a support. I think it's a very advantageous to have PhDs, especially in startup companies, because they bring so much to the table.
Yeah, I actually enjoy it. Like if the instruction is vague, like I remember when I first start in my first startup job, the
Mhm,
CEO is really visionary person. He's really cool. He's like, I
mhm,
want this. If people have hired and then trained a lot of staff, you
mhm.
can imagine if you give that to a fresh undergrad, say, I want this. Imagine their reaction will be, well, what do you mean this?
Yeah,
And then I'm like, okay, I ask a few questions and I'll get back to you. And I come back with a few options. Okay, this is what we can do. What you said told me to get this project done, you need double the money that you just told me. And then I get all of the options laid out. And I love it. It was fun. It's problem solving, right? Yeah. And then get paid very cheap for that. I think that role I get paid about 30K a year Canadian. Yeah. Wow. To do on that, right? And I was happy because I was at the PhD, doing a PhD still at the time. So I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money. Better than the 15K my friends are getting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And also I think like maybe employers nowadays, I don't know if you have the same experience, Connie, in which like, do they like expect like assistant to be able to do a PhD job? They hire titles, they put, oh, I want an assistant to do this. And then they basically think like maybe assistant is enough. But do they really know what the assistant means? Assistant means like somebody who is guided through everything, somebody who is really helping you like on the side and really needs to be told what to do. I feel like my job when I got hired, it was like assistant, and I felt like, oh, okay, well, I felt like I was overqualified for the job because like I have my PhD. But the thing is, when I got pushed into the work, I'm like, this is not an assistant role. Like this is not an assistant job. An assistant would not be able to figure all this out the way you would like to. So like I think there's also a misconception there in which like, oh, maybe I think I could hire assistants, but I think the standards nowadays in which like what is actually can be given by assistant versus a PhD is very, very different.
I feel like you're touching on another point. Is on the resume, a lot of us, the PhD masters, our job in academia that we get paid for is called a research assistant.
Exactly.
And then Victoria, I know you're still kind of in academia, but half because you're doing like clinical research. Right. So the clinical research will inherit that kind of titles.
Yeah.
Right. But the expectation is like what Victoria's saying, the research assistant is not the assistant in the industry sense. It's like way more because usually they're master and PhD doing it. And they expecting to say, oh, go figure it out.
Yes, exactly. Right? And then they have one person trying to manage a bunch of clinical trials, and not only having to do that, they have to do everything associated. They have to apply
legal contract. Oh my goodness.
You've got to make sure the finances. Oh my God. It's like everything associated. It's like definitely beyond an assistant job. So just like I think when employers really want to think about what they want done, is it really an assistant job, or is it really somebody who needs independent thinking and problem solving skills, which is usually you're looking at higher level, you're looking at PhDs.
Yeah, and then talking about that, right? Like AI now, like if you give it a really good instruction, it'll give you something back. We need somebody to think right now, right? Okay, sorry. Like people do think. I mean, like PhD are trained to do that, PhD and masters, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, really, we hope that we debunked this myth of, oh my God, PhD, I'm only hiring for entry job. PhD is going to cost me like a 6-digit salary. No, that's not what we're expecting. Like,
just give them a chance.
Give them a chance. Definitely not what we're expecting, and you're going to get like double the bang for your buck. Okay.
Yeah, and you'll actually be able to learn from them as well, because they have a lot of different backgrounds and different insights on things that will be very diverse for depending on which PhD every person pursues is very different. Everybody's experience is very different. So I would encourage hiring managers to really think about that.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully you get some new insight today. And thank you very much for joining us today. So if you have your own stories and thought or any other topic you want to hear more about in this HirePhD chat, please comment down below. And don't forget to click like and subscribe. See you next time.
Next time.